Hey, welcome back. Long time no see. Today we're working on getting the Z to stop overheating. I started out with a plan. I have not driven it all year long, and this October 10th, I'm gonna try to drive it. There's a few things I gotta do to it first, and it's snowballed. If you're new here, I'll give you the 30-second rundown on my car. This is my 2003 Nissan 350Z drift build. It is a Vortec V2 supercharger. It's over there on the ground right now. It is essentially a belt-driven turbo. The supercharger goes where the airbox was. It goes down into that, through the intercooler in here, up and around behind the supercharger, back into the regular intake pipe. It makes about 372 horsepower. It has methanol injection, and so far it's been very reliable. But I always have this one issue. After 2 or 3 laps, it gets hot. And when I first supercharged it, I did stock radiator with stock fans, and it would get pretty hot, but I could really hot lap it. And then I said, I'm gonna upgrade my radiator to a coil radiator. So the coil radiator is 2 or 2.5 inches thick. The stock radiator is 1 inch thick. So you lose 2 inches there, meaning by the time you put the stock fans in here, there's no room for the intercooler piping. As you can see, they connect right there. Adam LZ has a video saying most people make the mistake of doing a big radiator and small fans. And that is exactly what I did. I ended up doing shitty Mishimoto slim fans with the Mishimoto shroud because it was easy and cheap. I did upgrade one fan to a Spall fan, and I don't know if it helped all that much, but now we are working on it. I put the Spall fan over here, and this is an OEM G35X sedan fan. Look at the height difference on this puppy. I don't know the technical CFM of it. They come as a pair in like a figure 8. I'll put a picture on the screen right here. I cut it in half. I figured out mounts for it. I changed the plug. Now we just got to put it all back together. But I wanted to bring you guys along because maybe someone else has a Vortec V2 that overheats a lot. I put the Spall fan on this side because the charger goes right against it. The pipe wraps around the side of it. Not a lot of room. On this side, tons of room. You could buy a giant fan. You could buy a derail. Whatever you want to use, you could use it. I just had this, so it works. As far as modifications go, there's a couple. Looking at the back of the shroud here, I've always had this foam on because it doesn't quite reach the sides of the radiator. Small piece of foam on the edge. I cut both holes bigger. The Spall fan is larger, and the G fan is even bigger than that. You can see I didn't quite center it in my hole. Not a huge deal. They are riv nutted on, so they can remove from this side, no problem. The way Mishimoto fans come mounted, there is a bolt that goes that way that you have to hold, and a nut on the other side. That is for clearance with the radiator. Not a lot of clearance, so they make it flush. However, I think I'm good. I did cut the bolts down, so they will not go too deep. I just have to make sure that I never put a longer bolt in. Other modifications, we are adding a GK Tech swirl pot. If you don't know, these are notorious for air bubbles in the system. The swirl pot continually bleeds the air bubbles. So you hook the stock bleeder to one port. There's another port that goes to your overflow. And then the bottom of the tank goes to the radiator hose by the thermostat. I did install an ISR low temp thermostat, 160 degree instead of 180. And then I've got the return here that goes around the side of the motor and back. And I ordered this a bunch of years ago. This is a Chinese motorcycle coolant temperature sensor. I had to re-tap the threads in here. I'm hoping it doesn't leak. If it does, I guess I'll probably not tell you. And then I ran the wire up in the fender through there, and I'm hoping it reaches my dashboard. Hoping. Not sure. Not positive. We'll find out. I was just about to install the fans, so we're going to see how much room we actually have once they're in. So these fans are kicking my ass. I'll show you why. I cannot get the tab on the radiator to go in the fans because I need to tip this past the neck on the coil is longer than stock. And I need the fans to go past the neck, but it's obviously hitting the pulleys. And the power steering line is a pain. So my solution, I've already thought of a solution. I'm going to pull all of the bolts out of this fan, pull this fan right off, put the shroud in, and then re-bolt it on. That's the benefit of the nut certs, because you can't do that with the Mishimoto fans. So I guess I'll do that and come back. As you can see, we got the shroud in, no fan. Here's my fan. We're just gonna bolt it back in there. It wasn't too bad. It's a little tight in there, but we knew it was gonna be. Nice. So this mount is a little loose. The radiator is actually sunk. Like it can come up, but we'll deal with that one later. So next I've got this silicone coolant hose. I'm gonna cut off like an inch of it to make up for the thickness of the GK return hose. And then I'm gonna make this fit right here like so. I guess it would probably fit now, but I'm gonna shorten it because I think it's gonna hit the fan, so I kind of want it like that. It's a new night, new day, same problems. So we've got our charge pipe all cleaned up. We've got our radiator in, fans on. I probably already said that. PK thing I still gotta hook up, but I'm gonna see if I can get the supercharger back in the engine bay, and then we really won't have all that much left after that. I'm gonna go get some Nissan brand coolant, some coolant additive. I'm gonna finish hooking the cooling system up, and then we get to test it. Today's the 2nd, which means I have 8 days. That's the end of the 2nd, it's the 3rd. Which means I have 7 days. Get it going again. I gotta change the spark plugs on this side. Little stuff, so let's get it. While I was gone, so I got the supercharger installed, charge pipe back in, I got the belt back on, I got the fan on. Everything kind of fits. I said kinda, that's a really tight fit. I also upgraded some small things, like I put actual clamps on this vacuum line. The new GK Tech swirl pot is installed back here. I had to move my fuel pressure regulator. I mounted it to the bracket for the swirl pot, but that's all hooked up. And now, my favorite part, because I'm a nerd, I bought OEM Nissan coolant. And honestly, people are like, why? I don't know. I just had this idea where I wanted it to stay cool. So I got some OEM coolant. I also added a bottle of super coolant. Apparently you're supposed to add it to water and it'll keep you 189 degrees. But I live in the Northeast, so I'm not adding water to my coolant. So I bought 50-50 mix, pre-diluted. And I'll tell you what, the color of this stuff is so deep green. It's so dark. It feels so much better than an off-the-shelf universal coolant. I can't even explain it. I hope I have enough, to be honest with you. I know these cars are only supposed to take 8.5. Oh, no funnel gang, by the way. We got some bubbles. Good stuff. So I got the GK Tech overflow cap. There's no spring on it. So it goes on the radiator. And then this is wide open to that. But this goes up to the swirl pot. We got to fill the swirl pot too. Now that's technically the highest point of the coolant system. So we're going to keep seeing bubbles for a while. While that's self-bleeding, I'm going to finish installing my coolant gauge. Can't remember if I showed this off. This is a motorcycle coolant gauge. It's going to be going on my gauge cluster because I'm sick of guessing. I don't like the stock needle. So what's cool is the stock needle pulls temperature from the back of the motor, and the motorcycle coolant gauge pulls from the radiator. So I'll have 2. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and it's pretty boring. So it's been like 3 hours, but it's finally finished. So here's the dashboard of the 350Z. In my stock cubby, I just got ghost doored. In my stock cubby is now the AFR gauge and my temp sensor for my radiator. Boost, and this is actually methanol. It tells me when it's low and when it's on. I think it looks good. I'm very excited to have coolant temperature on my dash. Come around to the engine bay, and it's so nice that it's clean. Tomorrow I'm going to start it and bleed it. There's the swirl pot. There's obviously a couple more coolant hoses. I think there's 2 that run up the side now, and then there's another one that comes around the side. I don't love how they look. It's not super clean, but it's a drift car. I don't have to be a clean street car. I will make it work. I emptied my catch can. I have to do an oil change, bleed the coolant tomorrow, and then it really just needs to be cleaned. It's really dirty. The other thing is I got to put the other GK Tech mirror on. I still have the OEM one. I'm a little worried with the trailer that I won't be able to fold it anymore and get by it, but look at that. And then if you missed it, in this cubby, I have methanol pump and a battery turnoff. Get the battery turn off because if it sits for like 2 weeks, it's dead. So what a project. Side note, I also rewrapped this eyelid because it had a little bit of a run-in with something. And then this is just because there's a jack under the bumper. That'll fix itself. I got new lug nuts, GK Tech lug nuts. So now we're ready for Lebanon Valley on the 10th. We've got new OEM coolant, we've got bigger fans, we've got a coolant bleeder, and we've got a temp gauge. So I should be able to hot lap all day. If I can't, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I still want to delete this piece, move the radiator forward, give it some more air in there. We will get that. But I think that's it for this video. Thanks for coming, thanks for subbing, and pause.